So we're going to kick things off today with our board of director for United States Cattlemen's. This month I have Sam Ferret on. She is our Montana director. And Sam, you want to just jump on the line, give us a little about your background, and then also why you participate in United States Cattlemen's.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks for having me. Welcome and good morning, everyone. I'm coming to you from the state of Montana. I am a rancher out here. I was born and raised into agriculture. My great-grandfather homesteaded here in Montana in the late 1800s, and we've had cattle and hogs ever since. I grew up in 4-H, and I am still a 4-H leader, FFA supporter. I am deeply rooted in agriculture, always have been really passionate about advocating for agriculture in any way I can, especially the cattle industry. I joined United States Cattlemen's Association in 2019 at a joint event that I learned about from, I believe it was Montana Farmers Union, actually, and have been a member ever since. I serve as the director for Montana and Idaho, so it's Region 6, and I also serve as the chairperson of the Truth and Labeling Committee. My husband and I ranch here in Towston, Montana, just south of Helena, about an hour. And we have a cow-calf operation where we raise registered and commercial limousine cattle. We're dedicated fall calvers and dedicated to advocating for our industry. So I'm super excited to be here today and hear what everyone has to say and share with us. Looking forward to our summer meeting next week in Billings. So our summer meeting and forum, cattle forum, where we'll look at reviewing our policy and making any updates or changes to it, and planning for the rest of the year and what USCA will be focusing on. So looking forward to joining hopefully many folks in Billings for that event. Thanks, Maggie.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. And we'll talk a little more at the end of today's program about the Cattle Producers Forum and in our summer meeting. Kelly Fogarty is going to be joining us here a little later on. They're currently with another one of our clients with Society for Range Management in California doing a board meeting. So they're getting ready and gearing up for that. But I asked if she would jump on today, and she will be joining us a little later on. So then I will kick it off to Sarah here. Sarah is Sarah Hollenbeck. She is a part of the 5 meets in Montana. I forget the town's name, but I'll let her kind of go in and let her tell her story and background on how 5 meets started and what they're doing across the state.
Yeah, I have a few slides, more or less just to keep myself organized while I'm talking. And who doesn't love a visual, right? All these Zoom calls, we just stare at each other, but can you see my screen? Okay. Just wanted to give a brief, well, not so brief, background into who we are and a little bit about us. We are in Molt, Montana, which is just outside of Billings, not too far. I do like to say it's the middle of nowhere, but we are conveniently located, so when we need to go to town, it's not the end of the world. My husband, Henry Hollenbeck, he's 3rd-generation rancher. Myself, I am a California transfer. Don't hold it against me. I've been here over 10 years, so I confidently say I am a Montanan now, even if some diehard Montanans don't agree yet. But I like to say we are primarily a sheep operation. We do have cattle is taking over the majority of our operation lately, but my heart is really in the sheep. We have about 3,000 ewes that we lamb out a year, and then Henry and myself have really taken this lamb feedlot to the next level. Here we'll feed about 10 to 15,000 lambs a year, primarily buying from other Montana ranchers, but we do buy outside of the state as well. The cattle, it's been every year we kind of change. We like to take opportunity where we see it, and we're not afraid to switch to a different animal if we see the opportunity there. We do some yearlings every year. We've got some leased ground that we run them on. And then we also do some fat cattle. We feed out some in Nebraska as well as locally as well. We do sell some fat cattle to local processors throughout the state that need to fill where they, have a lull in their supply chain. We are happy to fill that need for them with whatever we have on feed at the time. But recently, what Henry's really gotten into is this cull cow market. He His father, they own a Aero livestock ordering business, and his dad, Mike Hollenbeck, sits at a lot of cattle sales every day, whether it's in Billings, Miles City, or somewhere across the state in Butte or something like that. Henry primarily goes to the goat and sheep sales, but there was a time where Mike was like, Henry, you got to fill in for me for some orders, and Henry sat at that sale all day and was like, there's got to be another opportunity I'm not seeing. And he came home and he was like, I think I need to try feeding some cull cows. And I was like, Okay, sure. So we did kind of what we call like a test run last fall with about 200 cull cows. He was buying just, whatever was coming through the sale that looked like it could put some weight on still. We fed them out locally, and we got in touch with a processor in Idaho that was taking them, and kind of developed a relationship with them from there where they're wanting to really ramp up their relationship with us and get more cull cows coming. They call them white fat cows, and given the current market, there's a huge need for them lately. So he's really diving into that. He really wants to ramp up the feeding. We are, unfortunately, locally, there's not a feedlot that can hold them all. So we are spread out between 3 feedlots, Park City, Billings, and Miles City. So that makes logistics a little difficult when you want to keep your eyes on how they're doing, especially considering it's not a new operation for other people that are doing it. It's new to us, so we're really trying to keep a good eye on how it's going. But so that's been really interesting, and he's making it work. He really enjoys it, and so I've been kind of moving more into the sheep realm of our operation, and he's really taken on this cattle. I keep saying operation, but that's the only word I can come up for it. Um, we also do some goats. The goats, the funniest thing, we sit down at the end of the year. Henry likes to keep really good track of all of our numbers on all of our animals. And the goats are actually the top performing livestock to sell for us on this ranch. We don't do it to scale like we do with the sheep and the cattle, but if Montana cooperated a little bit better with weather, we probably would expand the goats more than we currently can. They just, as we all know, they don't love the winter, so we really try to feed kids during optimal weather time, and that market just has not seen a bad day in a few years. So we're big proponents of feeding out the goats. You do have to have good fencing, and of course, all of the jokes about goats, they're true. So, you take it in stride and try not to tick off too many neighbors when they devour their gardens. But we do also dabble in some horses. That's primarily Mike and Henry's realm. I try to stay out of that operation as much as I can, but we do sell some horses for ranch and rodeo. My father-in-law is very passionate about the bloodline of horses that we have, and they're cute when they're babies, so I'm into that part of it. But meat sales, I'll kind of get into that a little bit more in the next couple slides. We started a direct-to-consumer company, High Five Meats, in 2015, and then we purchased a meat processing plant in 2020. And that's kind of what I'll dive into a little bit more here in this short time I have with you. And then Aero Livestock, I mentioned that we have the order buying business, and then we started our newest company because we just, we don't have enough to do. We started a consulting company as well, and I'll touch on that at the end of the presentation. High Five Meats, we started in 2015. I say we, it was me. Well, so coming from California, you go into any restaurant and every ingredient is listed where it was born, raised, you name it. And coming to Montana, I was trying to fit into the ranch and figure out what the heck I could do. And, I said, why don't we sell some of this lamb? We've got cattle too, to the restaurants in Billings. So I kind of made a tour with a pamphlet. I hadn't processed a single animal yet. I really wanted to make sure that there was a market for it. And there was some interest. It wasn't like overwhelming excitement. In the Billings market, it always comes down to price. And so that was a big hurdle I had to get over, as well as there just wasn't a demand for it, really. People didn't really mind where their food was coming from. So I started small, and then there was a guy in California who was selling combination meat packages, and I just thought that was a great idea. I thought, we've got the beef, we've got the lamb, and our neighbors were growing fat pigs at the time. So I decided to make this combination package, took it to the farmer's market with these 30-pound bundles, and people were like, I don't have room for 30 pounds of meat. Like, are you crazy? So pivoted, made smaller packages. Those sold really well. I had to come to terms with not everybody has a deep freezer, and a lot of people just have the freezer that's connected to their fridge. So had to pivot quite a bit when I started the business. And I think obviously, anyone starting a new business has to do that. But I learned a lot. I'm really focused on quarters, halves, and wholes going into the pandemic. That's when, people were buying freezers. So I really capitalized on that. And then in 2020, we bought the processing plant. And I was getting burnt out a bit with the direct to consumer market between the farmers markets every week and just the individual cuts. And so I was excited that we had more of a wholesale avenue with the processing plant. And I also was one of the founding members of our local food hub in Billings. And that really pivoted my customers to wholesale, which was always my intention. It is way easier to work with a small amount of people selling a higher quantity. Of course, like that just makes sense, right? So that was something I really wanted to get to. I loved the little lady that bought 1 pound of ground lamb from me every week, but the time it took to sell that 1 pound, you know, I had other things I needed to be getting done too. So it was great. I think everyone needs to start somewhere if they're going to do the direct to market. And I think farmers markets are exactly who you're trying to get as customers. So you got to start somewhere. You got to put in the work. Fortunately, now I'm strictly wholesale, selling to grocery stores and restaurants, which is great. I'm very happy about that. And then I also tell a lot of people if they want to get into this, they have to find out why they're doing it. If this is to save your ranch and you're like, we got to do something to save the ranch, this probably is not the answer. You're going to need a ton of capital, a ton of cash to keep something like this going if you're going to do it to scale. If you're doing it because you just want to sell 10 halves or wholes a year because you want to feed out an extra 10, then that's totally doable. 10, 20, no problem. It also depends on your location, and it also depends on why you're doing it when it comes down to like, are you trying to encourage local food movements, or are you just trying to make a buck? You really got to figure out why you're doing it if you're going to go this route. Mentioned Cowboy Meat Company. It's in Forsyth, which is about an hour and a half east of Billings. It was previously C&K Meats. We purchased in 2020, right in the middle of COVID, because we're insane. Initially, it was a state inspected facility, and we had to get it up to USDA inspection if we wanted to cross state lines with the meat, and that was a process. And my brother-in-law currently runs and manages Cowboy Meat Company, and I would let him dive into all the intricate, all the things he had to go through to get it, and it was not fun. It was not enjoyable, and I think if anybody wants to buy a meat processing plant, go spend a week at one, and you might you might change your mind. During the pandemic, I had a lot of people reaching out, asking questions about how we were selling the meat. And I just got to the point where I said to my husband, like, I feel like I need to host a webinar or something. I had never put on a webinar before, but I just was getting bombarded with people asking how they could sell their ranch meat. I was nervous about people getting into it and completely not knowing what to charge, undercharging, overcharging, processing too much, not doing it correctly with the right licenses. I don't want people to have a bad experience buying direct from a rancher. So I thought if I could somehow give some advice to a few people, that might help. I thought maybe 20 people would sign up, and I had over 100 go through the course live with me. And then since then, it still sells. It's still very relevant since 2020. And I still have it available for people. If anyone on this call or watches this in the future, email me directly. I'll send it to you for free. But it was a 5-week webinar. We did it once a week. I had some friends in the industry help me out, come on live. We did starting out, the state of Montana had a representative saying, you know, what licenses you needed to get started. The next week, Henry went through all of his Excel spreadsheets on finding your break evens, which is so vital to this business. And then the next week, Charlie came on, talked about processing and cut sheets. Marnie Gaskill from Broadus with Horizon Marketing, she was wonderful, did a marketing session with me. And then so many people had questions about shipping their meat. We do not personally do it. We'll do little bits here and there. I am not a huge proponent of shipping meat, but if you're in the middle of nowhere and you have no other consumer option, then that might be something to look at for you. But John Wanders with Billing Seafood Guys was great. We also had a representative of FedEx on that one as well. So totally free if anybody wants it. I'm willing to send it to you. I mean, it is 5 years old, but still very relevant for anyone that is interested in that. And then the other one we did recently, Henry, was livestock feeding in the winter. People were really interested in how he's doing that with the cull cows and with our sheep. It was, I think, about an hour, and that one is also on our consulting website. And then I know I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to hurry, Maggie, sorry. Just quickly about Aero Consulting we started. We have a monthly newsletter. All of the old ones are on our website if you're interested. We're doing some webinars, we're doing some consulting, some ranch management. My father-in-law and my husband are very into property assessments. For example, silent owners with all the money that's buying up land in Montana. We're trying to bridge the gap there and try to match them with young entrepreneurs or young ranchers or any ranchers really that are looking to find leased ground or an opportunity to run cattle or sheep or goats on. We're trying to match those with the money, basically. I'll skip my case studies because I feel like I'm running out of time, but yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. And this is how you can reach us. I'm always posting too much on Instagram and our consulting email. If you email that, I can send you the webinar link if you're interested. But that's all I had. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Sarah. And I know we got a smaller crowd, but are there any questions out there for Sarah? If not, you saw her email there. You can always contact us as well, and we can direct your email to her. Any questions as well. There's any questions? I'll see. Is Wade Christensen on yet? I don't know. So I might skip to Kelly Fogarty and see if Wade jumps on. If not, we can forego the market report as long as, I mean, we all know it's high. It's all great and good. I did see that it dropped just a little here on Monday, but looks like it's kind of moving in that direction back going up. Hopefully I can get on for our August call, looking at somebody to kind of maybe look into the future for us on that and see if it will actually hold, and potentially even maybe have another discussion on livestock risk protection. That's always something that we kind of need to keep in as a tool, and what that's also going to be kind of looking like now with the new administration as well. So be looking forward to that one in August, especially because we would love to see this hold through the fall, but we are always kind of wondering if it will hold by the time calves, at least in this area, are selling, and all that. So Kelly, I'm going to kick it over to you and talk to us a little bit about the United States Cattlemen's annual or summer meeting and cattle.
All right, thanks, Maggie. And sorry that I'm not on a video here. I'm on some work travel and Wi-Fi is not the greatest. But appreciate jumping on and really appreciate Sarah being on here as well as a fellow Californian. I am an active follower of Sarah on Instagram, love following, and I actually I took part in that course that Sarah that you offered back in COVID days, and I will speak to the fact that there's a lot of great information that is involved in that, and really would encourage folks to reach out and utilize that resource that Sarah and Hank put together. Of just a lot of great information on anyone that's looking to that kind of direct to consumer and feeding and all of that operation. And I know that I even learned a lot from my end. And so thank you for being on here this morning. But so like Maggie said, I am just going to speak a little bit here to the U.S. Cattlemen's Association. We have our upcoming summer board meeting. It will be next week in Billings, Montana. We have started from the association kind of doing this mid-year meeting from our end as a way to kind of check in, get our committees together, and look ahead to the end of year annual meeting and all that lies in with that meeting. And so specifically for USDA for our summer board meeting, that will take place on Tuesday, July 22nd. In Billings, and it's open to all USCA members. If you're interested and in the area, please come on by. We're gonna have a lot of great discussion. Like I mentioned, we'll be looking at all of the policy that's going to be up for review at the annual meeting at the end of the year. So getting kind of a head start looking at that, kind of starting to brainstorm what maybe new policy might be needed for the organization, but also just a really kind of a great mid-year check-in as we look at everything that's happened in the industry so far in 2025, and then what is in store for the rest of 2025. So that will be on Tuesday, July 22nd. And then on Wednesday, July 23rd, we'll be hosting the Cattle Producers Forum. This is something that USDA has hosted now for quite a few years, but in this kind of iteration to coincide with the USDA summer board meeting and with the Northern Sale going on in Billings. We tried to kind of plan it and schedule it around this time to hopefully grab folks that are going to be in town for the sale and have them come on over, come downtown. We'll be at the Doubletree to hear from industry representatives and stakeholders, and just kind of as a way to do a check-in on the industry as a whole. And so we're excited though this year in that we are going to be kind of partnering and working with the Red Angus Association. The Montana Red Angus Association will be hosting their own meeting on Wednesday in the afternoon at the Northern Hotel. And so folks have a great opportunity here to take part in kind of two sessions. The first being from 9 a.m. to noon. That'll be at the Doubletree, and U.S. Cattlemen's Association has organized a panel. And that'll be, like I said, 9 a.m. to noon. I think we've got about up to about 5 or 6 speakers now confirmed, I believe it is. And that'll be everybody from updates from U.S. Cattlemen's Association, Livestock Marketing Association, and then we've got folks as well from the Red Angus Association that'll be chatting, and then a lot of the local kind of state and regional organizations as well. Montana Farm Bureau, Montana Farmers Union, Montana Stock Growers. And so we're excited to kind of have this panel in which it'll be a great way to hear from each of these groups on what's going on in the industry, what their priorities are, what policy issues they're looking at for right now and for the rest of the year. And also to kind of offer producers the opportunity to ask questions and really hear kind of direct from the source. And so this is going to be the panel, like I said, from 9 a.m. to noon. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll be walking right across the street over to the Northern Hotel, where Montana Red Angus Association will be hosting kind of a marketing and markets focused set of speakers and panel discussion from their end. And that will be 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And so producers have a really unique opportunity here, like I said, to come on over in the morning, kind of take part in that industry-wide panel, have lunch with us, and then go and take part in a really kind of market specific event. And so we've got all of the specifics from our end. You can check USDA social media as well as uscattlemen.org. We do ask that folks register for the Cattle Producers Forum just so we can get a head count and if you'll be joining us for lunch. You know, of course, if you're only interested in the afternoon one, then we'll have information as well on how to RSVP with the Montana Red Angus Association for that as well. So again, this will be Tuesday next week for the USDA board meeting, followed by Wednesday, July 23rd. That'll be the Cattle Producers Forum and that great day of speakers and panel discussion. So we really hope that anyone in the area is able to join. If you're going to be at the Northern Sale, pop on over. Take part in this. It's a great way, like I said, to get together with fellow producers, hear what's going on in the industry, and kind of look ahead to the rest of the year. So with that, I will go ahead and pause if there's any questions, of course, and I will turn it back to you, Maggie.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Any questions on the United States Cattlemen's summer meeting or cattle producer forum? Like Kelly had mentioned, that information can be found on our website and throughout our social medias. So if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to us. I know I've been taking a few phone calls on that, so I'm always willing to take a few more. Alrighty. Looks like Wade Christensen with Kimball Livestock Exchange has joined us here, and so I'm little background, Wade Christensen took over Kimball in, you might have to remind me of the date, but I want to say 2016. My grandpa had ran that sale barn since the mid 80s. So it's really nice to kind of see what the Christensen's family has done with Kimball. They're doing awesome and having even more sales than we were doing back when my grandpa was running things. So I'm excited to hear from Wade here and let us know kind of what the markets are looking like and what you kind of expect them to go here following up the rest of the summer and into the fall.
So we had a sale on July 8th was the last feeder sale we had. Had about 300 head. Very quality was very good. Market was super smoking hot. I think we set a record on 1,000-pound steers that day, and then one day later, I think Bassett, Nebraska broke the record and this and that. So the market been going up steadily. I don't know. I just got the market report in front of me. It's a week old, but it's still pretty good, I think. We had some 10.5 weight steers bring 305, 11-17s bring 294, 10.59s $3, 9.96s 298. You know, really good market. 11 weights in the 290s and the 1,000-pounders in the $3 range, 3 to 305. Had a few of the heifer groups we had some 8.5 weight heifers bringing $3 plus. Had some mixed colored heifers weighed 768 bring 305. So that's a few of the numbers. Way up market's been super high too. You know, we sold bulls up to 237, I think. Cows, the good, better cows bringing 167 to 176. You know, just really, really good. Heiferettes up to 240. So market's really good. All these cattle are out of the yard yet. We haven't really started selling grass cattle. I assume when them grass cattle come, they're going to be in high demand. I don't think there's a lot of them around. I guess it's kind of where the market is for us. Next week we got about 3,000 lined up for another feeder sale. They'll all be out of the yard also. So I think we get to the end of August, the grass cattle will start moving, and they're always a premium to what these cattle out of the yards are bringing. So anxious to see what happens, but I really foresee this way up market staying really, really good all the way through the fall. And then I don't know, I think we're just so short of cows that they're needing the cows really bad. We've had a new guy start come in the last 3 weeks and start buying bulls. So the bull market's been really good, adding another competitor. Anyway, that's been super good. Oh, I don't know what else to say. I guess haven't sold a lot of pears. The grass has been okay around here. We're starting to get dry now. We had a pretty good sized fire north of Kimball there last week, burned 1,000 acres, and getting to seeing some of that, some dry lightning and stuff coming through, and not much rain with it. So that's kind of scary, I guess. And as far as the background on Kimball Livestock, we took over from Maggie's grandpa in 2017, Chad Heason and myself and my wife. And so we've had some awful good years with the markets. I mean, the cattle markets went up steadily through this time period, and had good response from people. And Wayne's helped us out a lot. Wayne Tupper, he's there just about every week buying heiferettes and cows, and he's got feeder cattle orders and stuff. So he's really helped us out a lot, getting us going. And I don't know. So we've been in there 8 years now, I guess. So this was in March. Other than that, we kind of run our own cattle operation also here. We've got purebred Charolais herd, commercial herd, and then we run about 500-600 yearlings on grass, and then my partner Chad does the same. He's got a little cow herd that he runs, and he runs yearlings on grass and feeds cattle. And so we're in the business just like everybody else. So I think that helps keep you on top of your game when you're in with just like the rest of the producers, and going through the struggles and the high points and the good and the bad. So.
Well, thank you, Wade, so much for jumping on today. I really do appreciate it. And I love seeing Jess Peterson knows. I get to see him jumped on today. Instead of listening to music, to dial in and concentrate on some work that I need to get done. Most likely you will hear an auction going on in the background. So Kimball's most likely on mine on Tuesdays. And so I'm always kind of in there listening. So thank you again, Wade. Thank you, everybody. That's all I have for today. If there's any other questions, feel free to go ahead and ask them real quick. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Again, summer meeting, Cattle Producers Forum. Give us a call if you have any questions. Website, you can go ahead and get registered there. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and a great Friday. And we will be catching you guys in August. And we'll see you next month.